All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So today we're going to be talking about the uh, Adams and Jefferson administration. Okay, we're going to be analyzing whether the Alien Sedition Act was justified. You're going to find out about that in a little bit. Or examine the transition of power from one political group to another and see how that went. And then we're going to create an argument about our national debt. Now, if you have no idea about our debt, you're going to find out today. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So, the warm up for this lesson is very, very simple. Very simple. Simply is, what do you call the situation where you see two guys with the guns? They're at a distance and they turn and shoot at each other. What is that thing called? Okay. Now, the thing is, I don't want you looking it up. I don't want you asking around. Okay. I want to know, do you know what that word is? Okay. If you don't know, give it a shot. Give it think about it. Take a minute or two and think about it. What is that thing called when two guys with guns walk a distance away, turn and shoot at each other? What's that called? Okay. Now, if you notice also on the warm up, I put on there extra credit. I hardly ever give extra credit. But this situation from this particular painting here is from a very historic situation. Okay. And I want to know, can you name the two people? Who are they? Okay. Now, if you can name them, awesome. If you can't, that's fine. Okay, it's like a Hail Mary throw. You may get it right, you might get it wrong. So, you know, just try. And if you don't want to try, that's fine. Okay, there's no point deductions on that. Okay, but again, what is the situation called when two people with guns walk a distance from each other, turn and shoot? Okay, so write that down. Pause the video because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right. So now that Washington is gone as president, the forming a political party is basically solidified. The Federalists and the Anti Federalists become more and more separated and they become more and more solidified in politics. Okay. These guys now really don't like each other. They are screaming at each other, and any way they can disrupt the other person from getting things done, they're going to do it. And again, people think, oh well, they've only done this recently in the past 30, 40 years. No, this has been going around since the 1800s. Okay. Now the thing is, the anti-federalists changed their name. Okay, because they're like, you know what, that term anti, that sounds bad. It sounds like we're against everything, but we're not. So we need to change our name. And you're going to find that out throughout this whole school year, that these political party groups change their name, change their stance on things. And yeah, so the Anti Federalists changed their name to Democratic Republicans. Okay. And later on, they change it to Republicans. Okay. But right now, they're going to change it to Democratic Republicans. Okay. Now, the Federalists were the majority in Congress, and they were getting kind of sick and tired of Republicans criticizing them, saying, like, oh man, a monkey could lead this country. And look at, we got Adams, who can't even think for himself. Oh, he must be a total idiot. Oh, I heard he's brain dead. Oh, I heard this councilman, this congressman is messing around on his wife. He has like three women. He's got pregnant, some of that. So all these things really were upsetting the Federalists in Congress and Adams. So they created the Alien and Sedition Act in 1798. What does this thing do? Well, the Sedition Act, let's look at that one first. It made it a crime to either verbally or print anything false, scandalous, or malicious against the federal government or government officials. So you could no longer say, "Oh, I heard the president's brain dead." Well, what's your proof? Is there proof? No, I just heard that. Well, guess what? You're going to jail now. If somebody on a newspaper printed out some stuff saying, "Oh, this congressman cheated on his wife and he has like three girls on the side," basically now with the Sedition Act, the government can come in and be like, "You wrote this stuff. What's your proof? Are these were these three women?" Well, we printed this to say this and that because we don't like what they're doing. Nope, nope. You're going to jail. You know. So now it was illegal to say anything um, against the government, even if it was an opinion. Like, I really hate the government. This Adams is the worst president. He's stupid. Um, they could arrest people for that, for verbally or putting it in paper and newspapers, things like that. Okay, so that's the Sedition Act. The Alien Act was another part of it. So a lot of foreigners coming here to our country, um, and a lot of them are against the British because you have to remember at that time the British controlled like a quarter of the world. All right, they controlled a large part of the world by taking over and imperialism and some of that. Right. So when these people were coming to America, the anti-federalists, the Democratic Republicans people were just waiting by the boats for them to come off, and they were like, "Hey, uh, do you guys hate Britain?" "Oh yeah, 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 we hate Britain. That's why we're here because they took the best land. They're making us work these long hours. They're not paying us anything, and so yeah, we don't like the British." Guess what? Our political group, the Democratic Republicans, we hate the British. So you should join our group. Yeah, yeah. If you guys hate the British, yeah, yeah, we'll join your group. So the Federalists were like, yeah, that's not right. So what they did is they made laws that made it harder for the immigrants to get citizenship and basically let them vulnerable to being um, deported back. So like sometimes some people came right off the boat and then they were sent right back onto the boat to go back to their country that they came from. Um, and sometimes there's a trial they would have, like sometimes a government's like, wait, something's wrong with this guy. And the thing is, yes, some countries did send people from their jails and their crazy houses. They would tell these guys who are bringing people to America, hey, we'll give you a couple $100. Take these people, you know, to America too. And they would be criminals or people who are crazy and some of that, and they'd be on the boat. So they would have trials for those people. See, like, weed them out. Like, is this person really legit or are they like a bad seed we don't want in our country? Okay. Now, from 1798 to 1799, states fought back against the law, saying you're violating people's First Amendment rights. That the state right to fight the validity of the federal law. You know, the federal law should not be above state law, and the state law should not be above the federal law. They should be basically even. So they're like, when you say that our citizens can't say anything bad against the government, that's to go against what we say in our Constitution that citizens have the right to say anything they like about the government without fear of being arrested. Okay. Now, guys, here's the thing. No joke. No joke. We got to our fourth election when we came across a problem. Okay. We already came across a problem in our fourth election for our country in the election of 1800. Because you have to remember, the way they picked the president was they had who do you want president? Whoever got number one, that was going to be the president. Whoever got second place was going to be the vice president. It just so happened that in our fourth election, there was a tie between Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr. Now the thing is, they decided, okay, you know what? Let's take this to the House of Representatives because this is the house that represents the people. So the representatives got together and they said, okay, let's take a vote. and it just so happened to be split right down the middle again. So it took them some days to talk and hear what people had to say, like who should they pick and things like that. Well, one influential person steps in to talk to the House of Representatives, and particularly the Federalist, and that person was um, Alexander Hamilton. Now, if you remember from the last lesson, Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson, they don't like each other. They really don't like each other. Because remember, Alexander Hamilton wanted to have that bank. Jefferson was standing in his way. Uh, Jefferson made things basically gave him a hard time, about that banking system and stuff like that, saying we're us the slave states, we don't have to worry about debt because we pay our bills, and you know this bank would give the government too much power, la 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 la. So he's like sees Hamilton, he's like, ah, dang it, man, this guy's gonna tell everyone to vote for Burr. Oh man. So Hamilton goes up and he basically says, I think you guys should vote for Thomas Jefferson. Everybody's kind of like, wait, what did he say? Jefferson, above everyone else, is like, did I hear that right? Did I just hear Hamilton say everyone should vote for me? You heard that? You heard that, right? Wow. Why is that? Well, the thing is, Hamilton realized that yes, Jefferson's a jerk. He's been, anytime I wanted something done in the government, this guy fought me tooth and nail. I hate him. But the thing is, with him, what you see is what you get. Okay. He's not going to try to be someone else just to please you. Aaron Burr will. Aaron Burr is basically a car salesman. He'll smile at you, things like that, show you what you want to see, tell you what you want to hear, but he's not a genuine person. You don't know what his intentions are until after the fact, after he gets what he wants. And Hamilton's like, he wouldn't be a good president. We can't have a person like that like president. So I would suggest you guys vote for the guy I hate. Basically, he's telling the people it's best to vote for the devil you know instead of the devil you don't know. Okay. So yes, Jefferson wins. He becomes the president. Aaron Burr becomes a vice president. Um, Now the thing is, some people around the world are looking like, oh man, the Federalists lost. They lost their power. They're gonna have to give it to the Democratic Republicans, the anti-Federalists. Oh, wonder what's gonna happen. Was there gonna be a fight or things like that? Or they're gonna be like, no, no, it was the election wasn't fair, things like that. But no, the Federalists said, here you go. You won, you know, you guys won. Here's the power. It was a peaceful transition. So we showed the world that even though our political parties hate each other, they can still work together and transition a power. Like, yes, we lost. You won. Here's the power. We can do that without having a fight or causing a riot or things like that. Okay. Um, so because of the 1800 election, the 12th Amendment was passed, which states that there should be separate ballots for president and vice president. So there's no more of this mix up of tie and things like that. Okay. Now, the thing is, Adams, before he left to be president, he appointed a bunch of new Federalist judges. Um, And the thing is, a lot of presidents, their last month or so, they tend to pardon people, appoint judges, things like that. So that's what Adams did. Well, the next day when Jefferson shows up, he asked the new Congress people, like he sees all this paperwork, he's like, um, what's all this? And like, oh yeah, Adams appointed a bunch of Federalist judges. And he said, no, get rid of those. Get rid of them. Withhold the paperwork, confirming the appointments, things like that. Stop all the letters letting these people know. that they're judges. Well, one of the letters made it, got away, and that was to William Marbury. Marbury then comes to the federal courts and says, "Hey, I'm a judge." And they're like, "No, you're not." He's like, "Yes, I am. I got a letter right here from the president saying I am a federal judge." They're like, "No, you shouldn't have got that." He's like, "Well, I did, so I'm a judge." And they said no. So he took them to court, and that became the Marbury versus Madison case. And what that case did, what's significant, was it basically said that the power to decide if a law is constitutional belongs to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Courts decide once and for all whether something is constitutional or non-constitutional. Okay, so if you ever heard of the Miranda rights, the rights where they go, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Uh, with these, do you understand these rights I've said to you? With these rights in mind, do you want to say anything? That's the Miranda rights. Before the 1960s, that was never said because it wasn't until the Miranda v. Arizona court case that the Supreme Court said, yes, the cops need to let people know what their rights are because some people don't know their rights. So they need to be told what their rights are before being taken into custody, and questioned and things like that. So um, that's what that court case did. Okay. Basically says that the Supreme Court is what they decide is the law of the land. Now, Jefferson's president, and he decides, you know what, now that I'm president, I'm going to limit the power of the government. He's not going to make the government more powerful. He wants to make it weaker. He thinks the government's already too strong, especially the president. He thinks the president has too much power. So he decides to automatically do some certain things. Number one thing, which was pretty impressive, he paid off our national debt. Yes, our national debt was at 1.0. Okay. Now, did it stay that way for a long time? No, it was very, very short. Just like I said in class. Basically, he spent our last like $40 paying um, off the people we owed money to. And it's like, yeah, cool. Now that we paid everyone off, awesome. Now we have the money and we got to pay for things. We got bills we got to pay. So he had to borrow money. So again, we went right back into debt. But for one point, we did have a debt of zero. Okay. He also cut government spending. He's like, the government spending way, way too much. And one of the big ones he trimmed the budget on was the armed forces, the military. So he said, like, okay, why do we need all these soldiers? We're in peacetime. Okay, let some of these guys go, right? Give them a discharge, let them go. These boats, do we really need 15 boats? How many boats are being made right now? Five. Okay, we'll pay for these five, and the rest of the orders cancel them. We don't need boats. We're in peacetime, so why have them? So yeah, he was really trying to um, quit, or limit government spending. All right, so this is a live look. Well, not really live because you're watching this already and it's already been passed. This is a look right now of our national debt. The one in red, the numbers, that's where we're at. As of September 30th at 8:56 p.m. So for some of you guys, it may be um, a day. Some of you guys may be several days past. So if I were you, I would check while you're watching this video, see the difference, how much it's grown in a day or two. Whatever time you're watching the video right now, like pause the video and then look at the national debt clock on Google on your phone or another computer or whatever, and see if you can see the difference, how much money we have. We're in the hole now compared to we were a day or two before. Okay, which is this video right now. So yeah, we're at 35 trillion 418 billion 533 million 900,000. It'll be 954 million now. So yeah, we're in big debt. If you look at the green side, this is where it says U.S. federal revenue. That's how much money we're making. And like I pointed out to the class, if you look, the for every second, excuse me, the thousands are going up. Now it's like the tens of thousands going up. Like, yeah, there's like little spurts of it, 10,000 every second. Now, if you look at the debt, the 10,000's going on every second. It's going up, bam, 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 right? Um, so yeah, that's what we're at right now. Okay, so keep that number of debt what we have in your head. Okay, so in 1800, Spain gave Louisiana back to France. Okay, they had it for a while. But the thing is, in France, they have an emperor named Napoleon Bonaparte. Now, Napoleon, he doesn't really care about the American land. He's like, okay, we got what, hunters over there, some of that gatherers for furs and trading with the natives. Okay, cool. He doesn't really care about this side of the world. He wants to conquer the world over, is where he's at. So he wants to conquer like all of Europe, Russia, Asia, China, places like that, you know. He wants to conquer that side of the world. Now, in order to do this, he needs money. Okay. So he basically tells the United States and Jefferson, hey guys, hey Americans, what's up? How you doing? Jefferson, what's up, man? Okay, so look, here's the thing. I know you Americans have been wanting to expand your territory and some of that. It just so happens I have this territory, you know, the Louisiana territory. So I was thinking maybe, since I'm not using it really, did y'all want to buy it? Yeah, I'll give you a good deal. So Jefferson is kind of like, well, how much are you looking to get out of this? Napoleon's like, well, I'll tell you what, since we're cool, since, I like you guys, I like you Americans. Um, okay, so look at, we France owe you about 3.75 million, right? Right? Yeah. Okay, how about this? We just sell it for a cool 15. Okay. You wipe out that $3.75 million debt we owe you. Okay. And just pay us $11.25 million. You pay us that much and we're all good. What do you say? Jefferson is like, that's a hell of a deal because this will expand America basically by two. It's going to double the size of the United States. Excuse me. So he kind of goes against Congress's, because again, the Constitution doesn't say the president can buy territory. So he kind of just does it anyway. So again, remember originally he wanted to limit the power of the president and the government. In reality, he actually makes it bigger. But again, this is a heck of a deal. You can't pass that up. All right, so here's my question to you. Do you think our debt, our national debt, the number you saw, will ever get down to zero? Why or why not? Now, I'm not talking like in a year, 5 years, 10 years, maybe 100, 200, 300 years. Do you think our debt will ever get down to zero? Okay. Now, again, I'm going to strongly recommend that you use the writing prompt on the bottom. Okay. It's not that much. And all you got to do is add your reasoning behind it and explain your reasoning. Okay. That's writing a proper sentence right there. I believe our debt will or won't, whichever you believe, get to zero because, and explain. Okay. It's not that hard, guys. Use it. Okay. So, with that being said, guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later. Okay.